In the eclectic suburb of Riverside Heights, the annual Street Art Festival had long been celebrated as a vibrant expression of creativity and community unity, drawing artists and enthusiasts from all corners of the neighborhood. Welcome to Suki Stories. Subscribe or HOA might come at you. The festival, a colorful explosion of murals, installations, and graffiti, transformed the streets into a living canvas that defied conventional norms and captured the hearts of residents. For years, the event had provided a platform for emerging talents to showcase their work, sparking conversations about art, identity, and the importance of public spaces. However, this year, the Homeowners Association (HOA) issued an unexpected ban on the festival, citing concerns over property values and the disruption of the community's aesthetic harmony. The HOA's decision, delivered in a terse notice posted on community bulletin boards and emailed to residents, was met with shock and disbelief by both artists and local supporters. As the news spread, passionate debates erupted in living rooms and online forums, with many arguing that the festival was a crucial outlet for self-expression and urban revitalization. The artistic community, known for its resilience and defiance, quickly rallied around the ban, vowing to find a creative means to challenge the HOA's draconian ruling. I, the festival organizer and a fervent believer in the transformative power of art, immediately convened an emergency meeting with fellow artists and community leaders. In that meeting, a daring plan was born. If the festival could not light up the streets through sanctioned channels, we would commandeer a bold symbol of resistance. Neighbors, inspired by the call to action, proposed painting the community's cherished vintage car, a relic of the past now parked in front of the HOA headquarters, as a moving protest. This car, with its faded paint and nostalgic design, was seen as the perfect canvas for an artistic outburst that would capture public attention and defy oppressive regulations. The decision to use the car as a protest medium was not taken lightly, as it symbolized both a break from tradition and a reclaiming of the public space that art had always occupied. Over the course of several intense days, the community gathered materials, designed intricate murals, and organized spontaneous painting sessions at the break of dawn. The preparation was marked by a palpable sense of urgency and determination, as each brushstroke on the car represented a collective act of rebellion against arbitrary power. As the day of the protest arrived, a sea of residents in vibrant outfits and armed with spray paint and brushes converged at the parking lot outside the HOA office. The atmosphere was electric, charged with both the thrill of defiance and the solemn realization that this act of artistic protest carried the weight of our shared identity. With careful precision and unified purpose, the neighbors began transforming the dull, gray car into a rolling masterpiece that echoed the spirit of the Street Art Festival. Every stroke of color on the car's surface told a story of resistance, hope, and the unyielding desire to preserve our community's creative soul. The transformation was not only a visual spectacle, but also a symbolic dismantling of the HOA's attempt to erase our cultural heritage. As the car's new, vibrant appearance took shape, onlookers from nearby homes gathered to witness the unfolding act of rebellion. The vibrant hues of blue, red, and yellow, intertwined with bold graffiti and intricate patterns, radiated a defiant energy that could not be contained. Social media erupted with live updates, photos, and videos, as the painted car quickly became the face of a movement that resonated far beyond Riverside Heights. In a powerful twist, the painted car was paraded around the neighborhood in a celebratory procession that symbolized the reclaiming of our creative public space. This impromptu parade, a moving gallery on wheels, brought together artists, residents, and even curious passers-by, all united by a common message. The event not only challenged the HOA's ban, but also ignited a broader conversation about the role of art in public life and the importance of community voices. Local newspapers and online publications picked up the story, praising the neighbors' innovative protest as a bold stand against bureaucratic overreach. In interviews, residents expressed that the painted car represented more than just an act of defiance. It was a declaration that art belongs to the people. The HOA, caught off guard by the public outcry and the powerful symbolism of the protest, found itself under increasing pressure to reconsider its decision. Amid mounting media attention, community leaders called for a dialogue with the HOA, urging them to embrace rather than suppress the creative spirit of Riverside Heights. The Street Art Festival, despite its official cancellation, had taken on a new life through the impassioned protest that transformed a car into a mobile symbol of artistic freedom. I, along with other organizers, continued to galvanize support by hosting impromptu art workshops and street mural sessions, further reinforcing our message of unity. The protest became a catalyst for broader civic engagement, inspiring residents to reclaim other public spaces that had been overshadowed by rigid regulations. Over the following weeks, the painted car was displayed at community events, serving as a rallying point for those advocating for a more inclusive and creative neighborhood. The vibrancy of the protest lingered in the air, a constant reminder that art and expression were not privileges to be revoked by arbitrary rules. The movement grew organically, with more residents volunteering to contribute art and ideas, thus transforming a solitary act of defiance into a community-wide renaissance. Local government officials, sensing the shifting sentiment, began to open channels of communication with community activists, acknowledging the need for compromise. The painted car, a rolling testament to our resilience, became a permanent fixture in the neighborhood's narrative of artistic rebellion and empowerment. While the HOA's initial ban remained in place for some time, the persistent protests and growing public support eventually led to heated debates and policy revisions. The spirit of the Street Art Festival lived on in every mural, every painted surface, and every creative act that continued to defy the restrictive norms imposed by the HOA. In the end, the vibrant protest and the iconic painted car not only challenged the authority of the HOA, but also reaffirmed our community's unyielding commitment to artistic freedom and self-expression. Following the dramatic unveiling of the painted car protest, our community's movement grew exponentially in both fervor and unity. Neighbors who had previously remained silent now stepped forward, sharing their own stories of how the Street Art Festival had enriched their lives. Every mural and every spray-painted design on the car became a symbol of resistance, echoing the community's desire to preserve creative expression. The sound of paint cans rattling and brushes sweeping across the car's surface resonated like a call to arms against the HOA's oppressive edicts. Local news outlets quickly picked up the story, broadcasting images of the vibrant protest across the region. Social media exploded with hashtags celebrating our defiance, and soon, supporters from neighboring towns sent messages of solidarity. The HOA's initial denial of the festival now seemed trivial in the face of such an impassioned communal uprising. Community organizers held a series of impromptu meetings at local cafes and community centers to plan further actions. At these gatherings, artists, activists, and ordinary residents deliberated on how best to channel their collective energy into sustained protest. Plans were drawn up to transform more public spaces into temporary galleries, showcasing local art as a living testament to our resistance. Some residents even began repainting their own cars with bold slogans and imagery that reflected their defiance. Local businesses joined the movement, sponsoring art supplies and hosting pop-up exhibits that celebrated the spirit of rebellion. At the same time, legal advisors warned that while the protests were powerful, caution must be exercised to avoid violent clashes or legal repercussions. Community leaders stressed that our movement must remain peaceful, emphasizing that our strength lay in unity and creative expression. The painted car, now a mobile art installation, was paraded through the streets in a festive demonstration that lasted late into the night. Each stop along the route featured live performances, impromptu art shows, and heartfelt speeches calling for artistic freedom. In one memorable moment, a renowned local graffiti artist climbed atop the car to deliver a passionate monologue about the transformative power of art. The passionate words reverberated through the crowd, igniting cheers and fervent declarations of support. Amid the festivities, the HOA issued a formal statement condemning the protest and warning of potential legal actions against the organizers. However, the statement only served to further inflame the public, as community members interpreted it as an admission of the HOA's fear of losing control. The ensuing debate between the HOA and residents became a media spectacle, with local talk shows dedicating entire segments to the unfolding drama. Public sentiment began to shift dramatically, with even neutral observers acknowledging that the festival had become a symbol of cultural resilience. Legal experts soon weighed in, arguing that the HOA's attempt to suppress artistic expression could violate fundamental community rights. Inspired by these arguments, a coalition of activists and legal advocates launched a campaign to reform the HOA's policies. Petitions circulated online, demanding that the HOA reverse its ban and allow public art events to flourish without interference. A series of community protests were organized in front of the HOA office, where residents waved banners and chanted slogans in unison. The energy of the protests was palpable, and the sense of camaraderie among participants grew with each passing day. At one rally, a group of students organized a flash mob that danced to a catchy, impromptu tune about freedom and creativity. The flash mob's performance, captured on video, quickly went viral, amplifying our message far beyond Riverside Heights. Local politicians began to take notice, with several council members publicly expressing their support for the movement and questioning the HOA's authority. Under mounting pressure, the HOA called for an emergency meeting with community representatives to address the escalating conflict. At the meeting, impassioned residents demanded that their voices be heard and that the ban on the festival be rescinded immediately. The meeting turned heated as longtime neighbors recounted how the festival had become a cornerstone of their cultural identity and community pride. Arguments and counterarguments filled the room as the HOA representatives struggled to justify their rigid stance on artistic expression. After hours of intense debate, the HOA reluctantly agreed to form a committee to review its policies, marking a tentative step toward compromise. The formation of the committee was celebrated by the community as a victory, symbolizing the beginning of meaningful dialogue between residents and the governing body. In the days that followed, the painted car remained on display as a constant reminder of our defiance and the power of art to unite people. Community workshops and art sessions were organized to brainstorm ideas for the upcoming festival, ensuring that our creative spirit could not be extinguished. The movement had evolved from a spontaneous protest into a well-organized campaign for cultural rights, drawing attention from art enthusiasts and civil liberties advocates nationwide. With every passing moment, the collective determination of Riverside Heights grew stronger, setting the stage for a transformative confrontation that promised to redefine the boundaries between authority and artistic freedom. In the aftermath of our relentless protests, the painted car stood as a radiant beacon of defiance and hope, its vibrant hues a lasting testament to the power of community expression. The HOA's stubborn ban, once a looming specter of repression, began to crumble under the weight of public outcry and undeniable creative spirit. City officials, spurred by the national attention our movement had garnered, initiated urgent reviews of the HOA's overly restrictive policies. As the local government convened emergency sessions, our community's voices echoed loudly, demanding recognition of artistic rights and cultural freedom. The painted car, now an icon of resistance, was paraded through the streets in a celebratory procession that united residents in joyous solidarity. Media outlets from across the region praised our innovative protest, portraying it as a pivotal moment in the fight for community autonomy. At public rallies, neighbors recounted how the once banished street art festival had morphed into a symbol of democratic expression and resilience. Legal experts soon confirmed that the HOA's arbitrary decisions infringed on constitutional rights to free speech and assembly. In a landmark ruling, a local court declared portions of the HOA's restrictions null and void, citing the fundamental importance of cultural expression. The decision sent shockwaves through the community, igniting celebrations that spilled into every street and home. Artists, once stifled by bureaucratic constraints, reclaimed their canvases and transformed public spaces into vibrant galleries of hope. The triumph was not merely legal but deeply emotional, as long-suppressed voices were finally validated by the scales of justice. In a historic town hall meeting, the HOA board reluctantly agreed to dismantle the oppressive rules that had long curtailed our creative spirit. Community leaders and council members signed a pact to foster an environment where art and innovation could flourish without undue interference. The painted car, now permanently enshrined as a symbol of our victory, toured local schools and civic centers to inspire future generations. Neighborhood murals and impromptu art installations sprang up overnight, each celebrating the collective courage that had defied the status quo. The energy of the protest began to ripple outward, influencing other communities to challenge similar overreach in their own neighborhoods. Local business owners reported a surge in patronage as cultural tourism flourished in the wake of our victory. Celebratory street festivals, once muted by fear of reprisal, resumed with renewed vigor and unbridled enthusiasm. The movement evolved into a broader campaign for civic rights, uniting diverse groups under the banner of artistic and communal freedom. Council members, once indifferent to our cause, now championed proposals to modernize outdated HOA regulations. The legal victory served as a catalyst for statewide discussions about the balance between property rights and public cultural expression. Inspired by our success, other cities began to draft legislation safeguarding creative events from arbitrary bans. In community centers, workshops on civic engagement and legal literacy proliferated, ensuring that every resident felt empowered to protect their rights. The air in Riverside Heights buzzed with a palpable optimism as residents envisioned a future where art and community went hand in hand. Former adversaries within the HOA, now transformed by the undeniable power of public opinion, initiated plans for reconciliation and reform. The once contentious relationship between the HOA and the residents softened, giving way to constructive dialogue and mutual respect. At a celebratory gala held under the open sky, speakers recounted the saga of defiance and unity that had forever altered our neighborhood's destiny. The painted car was unveiled as part of an official art installation in the town square, its story engraved in plaques for all to read. Local schools incorporated our journey into their history curricula, ensuring that the lessons of courage and collaboration endured. Social media continued to amplify our message, inspiring countless communities to reclaim their public spaces. The annual Street Art Festival, once banned, was reinstated with overwhelming support and record-breaking attendance. Every spray-painted mural and every vibrant piece of street art became a living reminder that creativity can never be truly suppressed. The victory galvanized local artists who found renewed purpose in celebrating their craft and sharing it with the world. Community leaders declared that the festival would henceforth be a symbol of not only artistic expression, but also of civic empowerment. With the oppressive regulations dismantled, Riverside Heights transformed into a dynamic hub where art, commerce, and community thrived in harmonious balance. The triumphant narrative of the painted car and the reborn festival reverberated across state lines, becoming a rallying cry for artistic freedom nationwide. In time, the story of our resistance was immortalized in documentaries, books, and art exhibits that celebrated the human spirit's ability to overcome tyranny. As dusk fell on a transformed neighborhood, the streets sparkled with murals and installations that testified to a long-fought victory. The HOA's failed attempts to silence our creative voices were now a distant memory, replaced by an enduring legacy of empowerment and unity. Every brushstroke on the painted car and every cheer from a street corner symbolized a community that refused to be subdued by outdated authority. In the final analysis, our triumph was not just a victory over a ban, but a profound affirmation that art, in all its myriad forms, is an essential human right. With hearts united and spirits unyielding, Riverside Heights stepped confidently into a future defined by creativity, resilience, and shared pride.